On the show, India comes up with a task force on digital public infrastructure to give fillip to G20. The thinking caps are on. Will reducing gold import duty curb smuggling of the precious yellow metal? We tell you why India will not see a Pakistan-like power crisis situation in the months and years to come. And know the perks of India surpassing United States and the UK in digital payments. After all, it's all about the ease of paying. All this and more. Get a view of India from the top angle. India has created a G20 task force on digital public infrastructure. This to leverage India's achievements in the digital sphere. Also to drive global efforts aimed at financial inclusion, health and education. Quite ambitious, yet real. Let's take a look what the task force will do. The task force is expected to create a detailed map of India's digital infrastructure across sectors. It will shortlist key digital infrastructure to be presented by India. And the task force will also lay the foundation for other nations to join the digital infra push. Apart from several government department and secretaries, members of the task force include G20 Sherpa, Amitabh Kant, and entrepreneur Nandan Nilekani. Under their guidance and vision, the task force will oversee and facilitate achieving India's G20 presidency agenda. It will prioritize India's stand on digital public infrastructure push. Also, special emphasis will be given on financial inclusion and promoting digital identity. And improved and innovative technology-based services, including digital payments like UPI, along with governance frameworks. At the last G20 summit in Indonesia, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had urged other leaders to pledge to work for digital inclusion over the next decade. Emphasizing on data for development, Prime Minister Modi said, "One Earth, one family, one future" remains the universal theme in India's presidency. Now, going by the reports, the Modi government's plans to slash import duty on gold might just prove to be the decisive step needed to halt its rampant smuggling. The move is primarily aimed at undercutting illegal sale across the country, which in recent years has become all the more worrisome. The illicit import of gold saw a boom in the months that followed the worst of the coronavirus crisis. For banks and government-certified refiners, it spelled indirect losses owing to a declining market share. In July, the government raised basic import duty on gold from 12.5% to 7.5%. The idea was to bring down trade deficit and support the rupee. But for illegal operators smuggling gold from overseas and selling it primarily for cash, this well-intentioned move spelled success in capital letters. Sample this. Last year, customs and other agencies seized over 3 kilograms of smuggled gold, their highest recovery in 3 years. Now, Ministry of Commerce has declined to officially comment on the report. Certain officials from within have been quoted as saying that official directives have already been issued. As for its wider implications, slashing import duty on gold could lift retail sales by making it cheaper ahead of the peak demand season. It is also expected to support global prices. The cut could also revive operations of domestic gold refiners, which currently are unable to compete with grey market operators. And that's because grey market operators offer more than $40 or 33,000 rupees per ounce discount over official domestic prices. A price which understandably no bank or refiner can match. If the move becomes official, India, which is the world's second biggest consumer of gold, could see a fundamental shift in the market dynamics. Moving on now. It is not just a failure in democracy, Pakistan is also a power failure state. India's neighbor has been struggling with power outages for years. Now, into 2023, it faced a second major power outage, that too within just 4 months. A cash-strapped Pakistan recently had massive blackout across multiple cities, including that of Karachi, Lahore and Islamabad, due to a fault in transmission lines. Machines have come to a grinding halt, markets bear a deserted look, lights have gone off, and the long faces of small traders dot the market area. Power generators have become the norm of the day. Unlike India, Pakistan's electricity distribution system is so complex that failure of one section of the grid can lead to a countrywide cascading breakdowns. The recent blackout was due to the shutdown of power generation systems to conserve fuel. When the fault was rectified, the technicians failed to boot up the systems in one go due to fluctuation in voltage. There are good reasons why India won't be in such a precarious position ever. Power Minister R.K. Singh informed Rajya Sabha that in 2022, the total energy supplied was just a notch below the total requirement of the country. There was just a shortage of 1% in the total energy requirement. India now is encouraging the farmers to take up solar power for irrigation as the country aims to reach net zero by 2070. A report by the Global Energy Monitor ranks India among the top 7 countries globally for prospective renewable power. Reports say coal's share in producing electricity for the state of Gujarat fell from 85% to 56% in the last 6 years. The share of renewable energy for the state also grew manifolds in the same period. The same is now being replicated in other states as well. And finally, when it comes to digital payments, both in terms of ease of use and adoption at a massive scale, India undeniably leads the way. Sample this. Data gathered in 2022 show that digital payment transactions in India exceeded those of the United States, UK, Germany, and France combined. The revelation stunned audiences when Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said it at the World Economic Forum in Davos last week. So, what explains the rapid growth in digital payment transactions? Well, among other things like last-mile penetration of high-speed spectrum and cost-effective smartphones, many attribute it to the great affinity that Indians have towards digital technology. And if the last 3 years are any testimony, Bheem UPI, or the Bharat Interface for Money Unified Payments Interface, has emerged as the people's favorite. Easy and convenient modes of digital payments made accessible through Prime Minister Narendra Modi's push for Digital India and financial inclusion have also led to substantial growth and transformation. According to data issued by the National Payments Corporation of India, UPI currently constitutes well over 40% of all digital transactions taking place in India. UPI transactions broke not one but 2 records in December. They reached a total of 7.82 billion and totaled 12.82 trillion rupees. Approximately 74 billion transactions worth 125.94 trillion rupees were conducted using UPI in the calendar year 2022. The platform handled more than 38 billion transactions, totaling 71.54 trillion rupees in 2021. Taking it a step further, Indians living abroad can now also make payments using the UPI network. So far, phone numbers from 10 countries including Singapore, Australia, Canada, Hong Kong, Oman, Qatar, the US, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates and the UK have been allowed to be used on the UPI. Discussions about extending the same functionality to other nations are also on the cards. But if you are still skeptical, just venture out to your neighborhood kirana store or street vendor and you will see that bank-to-bank transactions, even for considerably small amounts, are not only possible but the preferred mode of payment. That's it in this edition of Top Angle, incisive news analysis and cutting-edge documentaries streaming on News 9+.